Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me for today's video devotion and our Bible reading plan. We are in Genesis chapter 20, so go ahead and grab your Bible. And while you're getting your Bible open and everything, I'm gonna do this. As y'all know, we record these ahead of time, so it's actually lunch right now, and I've not had lunch. And Texas Roadhouse was good enough to bring by some hot rolls and cinnamon butter, and I can't resist. So. Well, chapter 20 in Genesis um, just makes me shake my head. I mean, what is wrong with Abraham? Here's this great man of faith, and he does the same thing in Genesis 20 that he did earlier. Remember when he passed Sarah, his wife, off as a sister down in Egypt to the Pharaoh? Well, here he goes to the Negev, which is that area between, say, Palestine and Egypt, and the local king there, Abimelech, he passes her off as his sister again, and so Abimelech takes her into his harem, into his palace or whatever, as one of his wives, and of course, before he has sexual relations with her, God speaks to Abimelech in a dream, and says basically, "You're dead if you go forward with this." And verse 6, God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know that in the integrity of your heart you have done this." In other words, Abimelech really did not know she was married. Abraham and Sarah both participated in the lie, passing her off as his sister. And so, in integrity and with no ill intent, he takes her as one of his wives. But God in this dream says, "I have also," at the end of verse 6, "kept you from sinning against me. Therefore, I did not let you touch her." God spoke to Abimelech before he sinned, protected him from that. Well, you would expect Abimelech to be upset, and he was. He was, and he called Abraham in. And in verse 9, Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us?" Doesn't that sound like the story read with Abraham and Sarah in Egypt a few chapters ago? And how have I sinned against you that you have brought on me and on my kingdom great sin? What did we do to you that would cause you to do this to us? And at the end of the verse, "You have done to me things that ought not to be done." In other words, Abraham, you've done to me something that nobody should do to another person. Then Abraham's excuse, in verse 11, Abraham said, "Because I thought, surely there is no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife." The same thing that he thought in Egypt. And it's like he didn't learn anything from the stupid decision he made previously. Now, I guess in honesty, all of us have areas of life where we're hard-headed and don't learn. It just seems like this would be a big one. But anyway, so Abimelech restores Sarah to Abraham as his wife, and then he's still generous to Abraham. In verse 15, Abimelech said, "Behold, my land is before you. Settle wherever you please." You can go out there and live wherever you want. Won't bother you. We're going to bless you. And as I was reading all that, a lot of different thoughts through my head, but one that I focused on, that I wrote in my journal about, is this. Don't assume that a lost person has no character or no integrity just because they're lost. Don't assume that just because somebody doesn't follow Jesus that they lack character and values. That's what Abraham did here and in Egypt. "I thought you had no fear of God, and therefore you would kill me and do all this stuff." He made it an assumption about them. And in both stories, in this one here, it was Abraham and Sarah who lacked integrity and character. It was the man of God who lacked character and values and integrity in this one incident. And the pagan man, the man who didn't fear God, the man who was not a follower, had character. And brothers and sisters, there are people in this world who don't know Jesus that are generous and kind and have character and ethics. And And when you and I, as followers of Christ, look at lost people with disdain, we just assume they're automatically the worst people, and therefore we don't treat them right, don't treat them with respect, we hurt them. We hurt them. And we hurt our witness to them. Now, God can overcome some of that. And I guess what I'm saying is, and don't you think in America, as divided and, everything's way over here or way over there? It's black or white, night or day, left or right. And everybody always assumes the worst about everybody else. Don't you think that as followers of Christ, we should stop assuming the worst about everybody? And realize that even people who don't know Jesus can be, well, they're not saved and they're not going to heaven, but just because they don't know Jesus doesn't mean that they're automatically worse than everybody else. That's my takeaway from chapter 20, is that don't sacrifice my integrity by how I treat lost people because I assume they're bad. That's what Abraham did here. He hurt Abimelech, put him in a place where Abimelech could have sinned. So integrity matters. And the people of God should have more integrity than anybody. And we should look at people with some kindness and respect and treat them well. So anyway, that's my thought for today. Hope it speaks to you in some way. God bless you. And I'm going to finish my my bread here from Texas Roadhouse. You have a great weekend. I'll see you Sunday in worship and next Monday for these devotions too. Amen. This is good.